Country boat rides are the mainstay of our little expedition into the Sundarbans. On this one, we come across monkeys having their breakfast. We even cause, well, a bit of a tantrum by this here alpha male. More kingfishers along the river. They're all ever present, it seems. And always ready to fly off. Like so many birds and so much wildlife. Tigers might seem pretty frightening to us, but I reckon to most wildlife, we humans are the scariest creatures in the jungle. Moths and butterflies are very obvious and really beautiful in a mangrove tree. But it took a boatman's sharp eyes to spot this vine snake, which pretends to be just part of the vegetation. There are monitors again, some of them quite large, a couple of metres, maybe 3 metres long for a big animal. And then it's thanks again to the boatman for finding another snake. This is a white-lipped pit viper, handsome and yet venomous. It dropped into the water, swam, and climbed into the bamboo here, sitting perfectly still. Moving on, we sometimes find white-bellied seagulls, looking like they're lords of the Sundarbans. As we photograph one shikra, another comes in, arguing with it. Some of the wildlife is quite specialised, mainly of interest to naturalists, like this mangrove whistler. And sharp eyes near the end of one trip spot this dog-faced water snake, which sees us, rests a little, and takes some evasive action. Some of the wildlife seems curious about us, watching as we go past. Like this changeable hawk eagle, didn't move away too fast. And a deer that watched for a long time as the boat approached and then decided, that's it, I'm off. Egg Island formed only a few years ago, I'm told. It was named by fishermen because of all the terns and other water birds that nested here. But now they've gone and the jungle has colonised. Makes a fine place to stroll along the beach, past the mangroves, Brahmani kite that watches me for a while. But it's relatively quiet for wildlife on our trip, partly as the tide's just a little bit high. Better then to just soak up the atmosphere and enjoy it, looking out across the river. Not walking too far into the vegetation, tigers could be anywhere here. Before we stroll back towards sunset, and a country boat returns to carry us back to the cruise ship. last day, we head south, then westwards. Chilling out now on the cruise boat. Still a little lookout for wildlife. And happily, we even find that wildlife comes to us. Brahminy kites here, dipping behind the boat, looking for fish churned up by the propellers. Most in this party were adults, rufous brown for the most part, with white heads and underparts. Sharp-eyed too, they were quick to drop down at any chance of a morsel of food. Along another stretch of river were followed by a great black-headed gull, a migrant from north of the Himalayas. And with evening approaching one day, we arrive at Huron Point in the southern Sundarbans. As we set foot on Huron Point, a helicopter flies over and lands at a small military base. A reminder that we're near the border between Bangladesh and India. It's a rainy morning and only few of us land here. Only 2 of us climb this rather rickety concrete tower, which I feel could collapse at any time. We see our first tiger footprints here, smaller than my foot, but not much. On our way back to the cruise boat, we startle some deer on the edge of the woods. And then in the afternoon, with the weather now fine, we set off on another country boat ride. But as it turns out, this ride isn't all that rich for wildlife, but it does prove a fantastic experience. We head to the mudflats as a rainbow forms from late afternoon sun and a rainstorm nearby. And then it's a chance for photography, and a sunset begins to evolve, the clouds turning ever more intense. Phenomenal colours, even for wildlife paparazzi, a must photograph scene. It's the last evening of my Sundarbans trip, and it's just fantastic. After moving north from Huron Point, we take a jungle walk. Tiger footprints remind us tigers could be anywhere here, and with the tide rising in the mangroves, this seems a really strange place to be. My hands shake so much, I have to be using the tripod to get any steady shots. Walking here, you can really appreciate that Sundarbans is one of the world's last great wild places. And yet suddenly, we emerge from the forest trail to find a tourist spot. A tourist spot with birds like this orange-headed ground thrush. But a tourist spot nonetheless. We're far nearer to main towns and cities now. And people come here. It's one of the few places that actually encourages tourism in Bangladesh Sundarbans. But there are tigers here too. We photograph pug marks. I film a curious mammal. Well, this fellow just appeared. And there's one of the star birds of our trip, a ruddy kingfisher sitting quietly in the trees. And then, time to leave the sensational Sundarbans and hope that I'll be back someday.